Hey, I'm Chris Sage. So I've spent most of my life traveling the world, trying to figure out who I am and what I'm doing here. What I've found out is that I love experiences. I love going to places and touching the dirt with my hands, with my bare feet, and then bringing it all back into the kitchen and creating something totally unique and one of a kind. Yes, I love cannabis, but really the Herbal Chef is meant to destigmatize plant medicine on a broad level. How to disseminate this incredibly cultural and spiritual information and give it back to you, the people. So that's what I'm here to do. Follow the journey with me. Ember Valley is one of the top cannabis cultivations in the world. What sets them apart is how they maintain impeccable quality, all under an entirely indoor operation. Using a combination of manual and automated techniques, Ember Valley is able to produce high-yield harvests every 15 to 18 weeks.
Started long before it was the fun and cool thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, where, it was back in the Wild Wild West days.
Trap days.
Yeah, the trap days.
Yeah.
Started in a garage with a couple lights, and then eventually over the course of time built it into this thing with a couple hundred employees, and we have 110,000 square feet of indoor cultivation.
We're in the bedroom here at Ember Valley. This is pretty much where we house all of our genetics. This is where all of our plants start. We have plants that we've started from clone genetics, which someone has kind of done the work, or we've done the work to where, we find phenotype expressions that fit our growing style and capabilities well. Typically see about 4 to 6 weeks in the bedroom. Clones take anywhere from 7 to 10 days to root. We'll then transplant them to these pots you see here. They could take anywhere from 3 weeks to 6 weeks to grow. From here we move on to the flower room, where we change the life cycle of the plant from vegetative growth to flower cycle. And that can take anywhere from 8 weeks to 10 weeks. And we cure anywhere from 10 to 20 days, depending on the actual flower itself.
So you have multiple rooms that are constantly turning over, just one after another.
Correct.
So with an indoor operation, there's no seasons, it's just straight into sort of the next.
We harvest about 10 times a month here.
Yeah. Wow. Are you guys particular with the soil that you're putting in here? Are you guys particular with the nutrients?
Absolutely. The soil that we use is a neutral soil that allows us to create the exact recipe that we want to feed to these plants.
That essentially gives you a blank canvas to then actually put in whatever you need.
Exactly. So the magic we create is essentially in our mixing barrels and our nutrient tanks that we hand mix every single day.
And those are the tanks that are right out there that are
Correct.
well organized into getting into here.
Years of trying different things, years of making our different mixtures for the nutrients to figure out exactly what works best for our plants.
Yeah.
And also the end product that I wanted. I won't smoke a product that I'm not proud of.
Yeah.
I don't want to give that to anybody. I don't want to sell that to anybody if it's not something that's you're proud of.
What are you guys looking for in the perfect plant?
In the end product, we are looking for bud density, we're looking for bag appeal, we're looking for aroma, we're looking for flavor, we're looking for terpene profile, we're looking for total cannabinoids. Everything has to check for us.
Including that delicious flavor.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So obviously it's a little bit louder out here. Like what's going on? What is this corridor?
This corridor is where all of our flower rooms are. Right here we have all of our irrigation lines. Any given moment the irrigation system could be running. Essentially it's like the heart of our facility. Our irrigation lines are like the veins and the capillaries, right?
Got it. I can hear some music playing. So is that meaning somebody's harvesting today?
Yeah, that's a harvest going on right now.
I love that.
Always require people to play music while they're working.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good vibe.
Yeah, let's go take a look at one of the flower rooms that we have going.
Beautiful.
This is our great flower room.
Incredible. Holy
Yeah,
crap.
this is, for me, this is an accumulation of everything that we do here. You kind of really get to see it all come to fruition at this point.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you see them as in the vegetation stage, and then you see these massive, massive colas. I mean, just crazy.
Yeah, this
And
strain
so
checks all the
beautifully grown.
boxes for us.
Yeah.
You know, it'll hold structure throughout the cure process.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we'll lose a lot of weight and moisture content, but what you see here is generally how all the flower will look at the end.
Right. And do you feel that this meticulous nature is attributing to like the success of all of this, the success of the grow?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or it's, because that's the details.
Yeah.
Everything is fine details in cannabis.
Yeah.
Sure, you could throw some plants in a room and grow cannabis, but you can't get the top tier without all those fine, meticulous,
Yes, dude.
nuisance details. You know?
There's cannabis consumption and then there's cannabis experience.
Yeah.
That's what we like to create in this process.
Yeah.
You know, we take pride in that. You know,
Yeah.
every single person that consumes this, we hope that they understand what goes into it, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of our job out there to educate people at
Yeah,
this point.
I mean, in my industry, it's the same thing. We're like trying to tell people and educate people. Yes, you can fill your gullet with, any sustenance.
Yeah.
But then there's this, from start to finish, from seed to fork. Like every part of that is meticulously thought out,
Yeah.
purchased, processed, and brought to your table. That's part of what I think people are starting to really love now, is they want to be in experiences and they want true craftsmanship. Welcome to the kitchen. I am extremely happy anytime I'm around a lot of cannabis, but this is a special occasion. We have Ember Valley bud here that we got straight from the harvest that you saw me pick, and now we're taking it into the kitchen to extract it. I know for those of you that are big cannabis fans like myself, it is sacrilegious to take such a beautiful bud and then freeze it, because obviously you want to cure it and smoke it. But with this, we're going to create the absolute best and highest level of extraction called live rosin through the live rosin tech press. The reason that we're freezing it is to keep the terpenes and the cannabinoid profile as intact as possible with as little degradation as possible. So that's what you're going to see here. The reason that we're using the IRINOX is because this is the most efficient way to freeze anything, period. It is an incredible machine, and you're gonna watch me open the door right now and toss these in, and the freezing process will take about 10 minutes for plant matter like this versus a couple hours in a traditional freezer. So that is the difference between microcrystallization and the traditional crystallization that happens with the water content in a typical product. So I take the fresh frozen bud and break it down using some scissors here. I'm gonna fill the micron bag as much as I can and then put it into the Rosin Tech stamp and make sure that it's flat. Once it's flat, I'm gonna put it into parchment, and now you're gonna see me put it into the machine as it expels all the water from the fresh frozen bud. You're left with this beautiful sticky live rosin, and depending on how much heat and pressure you're using, it's going to completely change the outcome of your live rosin. Some is going to be lighter, some is going to be darker, and it's all up to how you want to extract it. So Sebastian, do you want to tell us a little bit how the IRINOX does what it does?
So IRINOX is considered best-in-class blast chilling and shock freezing technology for a reason. What we do better than anybody else is get things cold or frozen faster than anybody else. And with freezing, especially cannabis, as you mentioned in our tests, what IRINOX can do is actually preserve something, stop it in time, and reach microcrystallization, which is absolutely not damaging to any of the molecules of the product that you're freezing. So when you freeze and thaw, the product essentially comes exactly the way that you wanted it out from the get-go. No damage, no drying out, no freezer burn, any of that.
So essentially a operator, like somebody who owns a cannabis grow or cultivation that wants to do live rosin or any type of extraction, they can preset this. I know that you have massive ones that are literal tunnels, so they can roll in their cannabis and then it'll freeze within, what we saw, 15 minutes or so, and then they can take that out and start to immediately extract it.
The beauty with the IRINOX is that once you have that technology in the house, you can utilize it for as long as you need to, for as long as you want to. These machines can run autonomously overnight. You can start freezing processes for your bud overnight as well, without anybody being there and coming in the morning, and everything is perfectly frozen, microcrystallized without any damage to the plant.
So you keep talking about microcrystallization. Can you explain a little bit about that?
A little joke of mine that I always like to make is we all had this grandma that had a freezer where things went to die. That is what macrocrystallization is. It's those snowballs that you see that form inside of that freezer, slowly freezing. It's a slow process that allows for expansion of the molecules time and time again. What we can do is actually freeze water in place on a molecular structure without damaging any of the cell structure. And without damaging the cell structure, you don't get that purge that you get once things thaw out again. You can utilize the full temperature range of plus 185 to minus 31 in this machine. Anywhere inside of that you can operate. And in the freezing for the cannabis, where we've seen great success in ours, is actually the strong freeze, which is a direct down to minus 31 freeze. You can find it right here at the end. The other beauty of this is you don't have to press everything right away. Because you are freezing so well, so fast, and so efficiently, you can store that product in a regular freezing environment for a longer time if that's what you need, so that you maybe wait for a few days, gather some of your product, maybe for a week or two, a month, so that you can get more of it pressed at one point. That's where this can really make the difference. It takes the guesswork out of it and starts creating certainties where there were variables before.
All right, so you saw that I put the cannabis into the IRINOX to freeze it so that we can get this amazing extraction. We're gonna take that extraction and we're gonna put it into a couple dishes. Before we do that, I wanna introduce you guys to my dear, dear friend and our incredibly talented corporate chef, Chef Jared Ventura. How's it going, Chef?
How are you?
Welcome, welcome. Thank you. Would you like to introduce the couple of dishes that we're doing today?
Sure, absolutely. So what we wanted to focus on is the versatility of the IRINOX machine. So we're gonna do a couple of dishes that usually take multiple processes and just try to get them all done in one machine. The first dish is a duck roulade. So we're gonna take the entire duck and use the whole thing. We're going to be taking the legs and the gizzards to make a farce, and then we're gonna wrap that with the breast and the skin. Roast that off in the IRINOX and cool it down in the IRINOX as well. Then we're gonna use some carrots and some garlic espuma. The next dish we're gonna do is a black sesame cheesecake. Usually cheesecake is a long process, cooked with a water bath. We're gonna do the whole thing in the IRINOX. It's gonna come out quite lovely.
All in all, we want to use the IRINOX to maintain the quality of our products at the very highest level to produce and showcase our beautiful dishes. This whole week has been absolutely incredible, from the grow to the kitchen to everything in between. But to level with you, I really love this industry. The breadth of what cannabis and plant medicines can do for humanity, in my opinion, is absolutely astronomical. It really pains me when I see that a lot of people abuse this entire industry, and not to mention plant medicines. I'm here to show you the very best of the best, the quality, the practices, everything that goes into showing up with the highest quality of anything that you've seen in this industry. That's what the Herbal Chef stands for. We're here to destigmatize plant medicines, period. And this is how we do it, with amazing partners and amazing people, both on our team and those that we get to work with. And that, to me, is what this is about. And I appreciate you going on the journey with me.
there's a lot of different factors that go into a perfect plant.
Smart, sophisticated,
Exactly.
beautiful, down to earth, makes me laugh.
That checks all the boxes.
Oh my God. Oh my God.